Okay, so I wanted to thank everyone so much for coming. I'm very excited to be here today. My name is Misha. I am the founder of Iranian Youth Connections, which has been created in partnership with the Iranian American Society of Arizona. And I'm so honored to be partnered with them. They are an amazing organization, and I am so happy that they have helped me through creating this and hosting this event today. So I will start sharing my screen. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see that all right. Okay, so I'll get right into it. So I wanted to start off by telling everyone a bit more about myself. So my name is Misha Ghafouri. I am entering my junior year of high school in Phoenix, Arizona. And outside of starting Iranian Youth Connections, I'm also the co-founder of another nonprofit called Kids Inspire Difference, which is a registered 501c3. I am also involved with speech and debate. I've been competing in speech and debate for around 8 years or so now, and I'm a nationally ranked speech and debate competitor. And I'm also involved with other nonprofit organizations, including the Swift Youth Foundation, National Charity League, and the Girl Scouts of America. And through these various leadership opportunities, and especially through my other organization, which that logo is there, I've been able to learn a lot more about, creating an organization, how to lead a team of people, how to reach out to people, network, create events, and various things like that. So then I wanted to talk a bit more about my inspiration behind creating this organization. So as I mentioned, I'm part of the Girl Scouts of America, and we have this project. It's kind of like the final project. It's called the Girl Scout Award, where you basically get to create a project on whatever issue you're passionate about. And the goal is to reach out to a community that is close to you that you want to help. So as soon as I knew that I was, going to start this project, I knew that I wanted to do something that would help the Iranian community. So I reached out to people I knew, and I got in contact with the Iranian American Society of Arizona, and they were very quick to respond, and we met. And then from there, we started planning this. So I kind of, I told them, like, I want to do something to help your organization. Is there anything that, I can help with the work that you do? And I was like, I'm especially involved with helping youth. A lot of my nonprofit work is towards helping teens. Is there anything I can do with that specifically? So they told me about how they had a group Javanon for older people, and then they also have a group for like elementary kids, but there was nothing for teenagers my age. So it kind of all fell into place, and we started planning this. So then I wanted to talk a bit more about, like, why is this project especially important to me? So I found that through these various philanthropic organizations that I was part of and various clubs and schools, I found that there wasn't a place for Iranian teenagers like myself to come together, bond, and learn. So then that was one of the inspirations behind creating this. I wanted to create a space for more Iranian teenagers like myself to come together and meet with one another. And then another issue was the idea of cultural assimilation. So if you may not know, this is basically the idea that immigrants who move from their native country to like Western nations, they're often forced to assimilate into American and Western culture. And through that process, they also lose connection to their, their ancestral language, their name, traditions, and things like that. And so that was an issue that I knew that I wanted to address. Cultural assimilation is something that I've spoken about before in speech and debate as well. And I feel that especially myself as a first generation to be born in my family in the United States, I knew more about American history than I knew about Iranian history. And as I'm growing older, I'm also like slowly losing my native, Persian tongue. And this is something that became very apparent to me that I wanted to address. And then also along with that was that, I couldn't find more Iranian role models in my community. It's really hard to find people who look like me in the media, to find people who look like me, who have platforms, who are political leaders, who are entrepreneurs. And I'm hoping through this organization to show more teens like myself that there are Iranian role models out there. So yeah, that was kind of my inspiration behind this. Okay, so then I wanted to talk about what the mission and the goal is exactly. So the goal of Iranian Youth Connections is to create a welcoming space for Iranian high schoolers to come together and connect and bond, learn more about Iranian culture, and gain the skills to become successful leaders in their community. So those are the three main objectives of the organization, and this will occur through monthly virtual Zoom meetings where all the members will get together and be joined by a guest speaker. And so the guest speakers will be entrepreneurs, medical professionals, political leaders, educators, artists. Really, the list is endless. Just anybody who's really knowledgeable about a certain topic and wants to come and speak to Iranian teenagers, they can come. Obviously, they have to be Iranian, but that's pretty much the only requirement. And then they can come speak about what they're knowledgeable about. And the goal is to educate Iranians about, the Iranian youth about these issues, provide like networking opportunities, and I'll speak more about that. So I wanted to tell everyone a little bit more about the speakers we'll be having. So actually for our first meeting, we'll be joined by Armita Hosseini, who is the founder of Empower Econ. It's an organization she founded a few years ago, and she has been featured on Forbes. She's also a published author, and the goal of her organization is to provide programs for financial literacy for teens. So I met with her recently, and she's super amazing, and she will come and talk more about the work that she does and teach everyone about everything from student loans to budgeting and investing and everything in between. And we've set up a workshop for that. So that'll be our first meeting, and I'm very excited for her to join us. And then I've also been in contact with many other people. Some of them are on this slide, some of them are not, but this also includes a CEO of a tech company, a professional dietitian, a storyteller, a published author, a TEDx speaker, the Phoenix Councilwoman, and also a person who served on the student leadership board for the Biden campaign and is the call-time manager for the Texas Democratic Party. I've also been in contact with some professional Persian cooks for some social events that we'll have, and many other people. I've had a really good response. I reached out to people around 4 days ago, and I've already received many, many responses for people who are interested. So I'm very excited. Yeah. So then I wanted to talk a bit more about what it means to be a member. So the only membership requirements are that you have to identify as Iranian and that you have to be of high school age. So that includes incoming freshmen and graduating seniors. And yeah, you'll get to meet other Iranians from across the world. Currently, we have members signed up from across the United States, but the goal is to eventually have members from all over the world, because I feel like if we have people from, across the world, we'll also gain new perspectives, and that'll be a super cool opportunity. And as a member, you'll be able to, meet these other Iranian youth, but also meet the many amazing Iranian leaders that will be joining us at these Zoom events, and that will also be a great networking opportunity. And we will also include a lot of education about Iranian history, culture, tradition, language, and things like that, since that is, one of the main objectives that I talked about earlier that I hope to achieve through this. And then also, I will be offering the opportunity for service hours, since I know that for us high schoolers, that's kind of like a difficult thing we have to get right now as well. So if you're interested in that, I will be providing opportunities for earning service hours. And then to become a speaker, there really is not much of a requirement other than that you have to be knowledgeable about some sort of topic. It can range from, Iranian history and art, Persian cooking, dancing, music, teaching Farsi. It can also be like teaching life skills or future, careers, helping teenagers with career planning. If you're like an entrepreneur, medical professional, lawyer, civil advocacy, really just any of these topics and many more. And also for becoming a speaker and becoming a member, for the member, it's just a super simple sign up that I will put in the chat after this meeting is over, so you can go check that out and sign up. And for becoming a speaker, I also have a Google form with that. You can fill that out, or you can just message me, and then we'll set up a meeting and begin to plan the Zoom event. So then I wanted to talk a bit about my future goals with the organization. So eventually, once COVID passes, my hope is to also have some in-person events, especially since we are starting in Arizona and Phoenix. I think it'd be really cool to have some in-person events here. One of my goals is to have at least 100 members from around a year from now. I'll also be reaching out to sister Iranian organizations across the United States in hopes of engaging more Iranian youth from across the country. And eventually, I hope to have chapters across the world. I think that would be really amazing. And then we'll also be involving volunteer work down the road. That's another hope I have. And another thing I was thinking of was to potentially get involved with organizations that help Iranian immigrants and doing some volunteer work with that. So I encourage everyone to continue to support the work that we're doing. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Iranian Youth Connections. I encourage you to join our Instagram live events. I'll hopefully be doing some of those alongside the Zoom events, so anyone who cannot attend those or sign up to become a member, you can still follow and learn from some of the speakers we have through Instagram Lives. And as always, just like, share, repost so we can help spread the word. And also everything I talked about and some more information can also be found on my website, IranianYouthConnections.org. And yeah. So now I just want to open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions about anything I talked about, how to sign up, if you have any suggestions or comments, I'm open to taking those as well at this time. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. You can raise your hand, put it in the Q&A. Any of that is fine. Yes, so we have a question. Is the membership free? It is free. I can actually, I'll share my screen and show really quick what that looks like. So one thing you can do is if you go through our Instagram, you can find it in the link in our bio, but it basically just takes you to this form. and it's super simple. You just fill out your name, address, phone number, some logistical questions, and then like why you are interested in joining. And yeah, and then you send that in, and then you become a member. And then, oh, this is for speaking, but it's a similar form. This is for signing up to become a member. This is for signing up to speak. Signing up to become a member is actually even shorter. It's super simple. You just sign up, and then yeah, that's how that will work. And I'll also, for people who sign up, I'll be creating an email list where we'll send updates for Zoom events. I'll be promoting it on our Instagram, and then I will also be compiling all the members into a Slack channel. So Slack is just an app that you can download, and it's a super easy way to be in contact with people, especially for organization work like this. I've used it in the past, and it's super straightforward and has some cool functions. So I'll also be sending messages through there about like future events and things like that. Then we got another question. How can we get a copy of the recording of this meeting? So I am recording it, and it'll be up on my Instagram. Yeah, I think maybe the Iranian American Society of Arizona may be able to put it somewhere, but if you need, I will actually put my email in the chat. So if you have any questions, you can send them there. And I'll also put the link to these two forms. So here's the member form and the speaker form. So the next meeting, I'm planning for it to be in the beginning of September is kind of my goal. I'm also trying to get feedback from my members to kind of figure out when the best date would be, but I'm shooting for the beginning of September, and I'll release more details about that shortly. But I'm planning for the meetings to probably take place on the weekends, most likely Sunday morning, but I'm going to check in with others and see what works best for them. Oh, okay, I'm finding a few more questions in the Q&A. So can older youth/college students participate in the Zoom meeting? So I am restricting it to high school students, whether you're incoming freshmen or graduating seniors, only because if I open the age range too much, then the dialogue and the conversation may be very different. So for those reasons, I'm just going to be keeping it for high school students at this time, but in the future I may open up for college students. So yeah, eventually if we do have in-person events, it would be really cool to have cultural things such as dancing and festivals, and hopefully in the meantime that's something we can do through Zoom as well. Yes, I will also, that is a good idea. I will put a copy of this recording on our website. Yeah, so we have another question. Will the meetings be on Zoom like today? Yep, all of them will be like this, except they won't be in a webinar format. They'll be just in a normal Zoom format. That way, everyone can engage with one another. I would encourage everyone to, keep their cameras on and talk and everything, so we get to know each other. We'll have some like social events, and also that way you can interact with the speaker. But yeah, it'll be a similar format. Okay, so we have a question for anyone who missed the meeting. What is the best way to get a hold of me? So you can reach out, either DM me direct message me through Instagram at Iranian Youth Connections, or you can email me. My email address is iranianyouthconnections@gmail.com, and I've also put it in the chat, so you can reach out to me that way. Yeah, so the meetings will be occurring once a month, typically on a weekend. So we have another question, if I will have chapters in other states. That is the goal. So I will be contacting other Iranian organizations across the United States and be reaching out to them to hopefully start other chapters. That is definitely the goal. And also, I encourage everyone, if you have anyone in mind who you think would be a good potential speaker, if you know any Iranian teenagers who would be interested, please feel free to let me know. I would really, really appreciate it. The goal is to grow my community and hopefully grow this organization. I have another question about plans for charity work. So I think I mentioned on one of the slides that over Zoom, it is a little bit more difficult to do that type of thing, but eventually post-COVID, I would like to do some in-person events where we maybe go do some sort of volunteer work. And for members who don't live in Arizona, we'll have like chapters or different opportunities for that to be done in person. And maybe I can also organize some volunteer events via Zoom as well. So the Zoom meetings will be around an hour or so, possibly 2 hours if, we have a lot of engagement and the speaker's workshop is a longer one, but probably around an hour, only because, especially with it being over Zoom, Zoom fatigue is something I want to be aware about. So probably around an hour, I'd say. Yeah, so it's pretty, it's pretty low commitment, just like 1 hour a month or so. But I have seen that I have gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of the people I have reached out to. So, if we get a lot of interest and the Zoom meetings go really well, it could become maybe like twice a month type of thing, where we do it like every 2 weeks. And also, I'll definitely be doing more things on Instagram. So like if we have a Zoom event once a month, I'll probably also have some sort of Instagram live as well, or Instagram takeovers and something via social media if it's not through Zoom. Yeah, so we had a question, will there still be virtual options after the pandemic? Yes, so I'll definitely be keeping it virtual. Yeah, I think if I were to have in-person events, that would be in addition to the Zoom webinars, not instead of. So I'll have just like maybe some more opportunities for people who live in Arizona, and then eventually, some opportunities for people in your state. I'll have like regional heads or state heads and things like that to run in-person events. But yeah, the in-person events would be in addition to the Zoom events. So we have another question, what type of topics will we be covering during these meetings? So the goal is really just to educate Iranian youth about a variety of topics that they would be interested in for potential like career choices or just interests, hobbies, passions, things like that. So for example, the next one will focus more on specifically on financial literacy. but then we'll have another meeting that will focus more on, like Iranian history, and I'll bring in like a professor to come talk about that. And then we'll have another meeting where we'll be joined by the call time manager of the Texas Democratic Party, and he would talk more about his journey through creating a platform for himself and voting rights and education about that. We could also have a professional cook come teach about like Persian food. It's really just a range of topics. It's not secluded to a few things. So we have a question about can non-Persian people attend and become members? I think that could definitely be an option for people who are interested in learning more about Iranian culture. Yeah, I think I'd be open to that. Although I would have to restrict it to some extent since it is primarily for Iranian youth, and there are just some issues that maybe non-Persian people would not be able to relate to. And yeah, as I said, we'll have some like, once we do go abroad, we'll have like chapters, and within each of those chapters, there will be region heads. I've already been in contact with someone who's interested in being a region head in, or a regional head in New York. Yeah, so we'll have some sort of positions and stuff that will open up as the members involved in the organization grow. Yeah, as I said before, our first speaker will be Armita. I've met with her. She's really amazing. I'm super excited for that. So once that is planned out, I'll be putting a link up on our Instagram and in some other ways for people to register for that event, and I'll be sending it to all of our members. And so then you can easily just register for that event and come and join the Zoom. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, she's super cool. Okay then, if there are not any other questions, I think I've covered pretty much everything. Is there anything else people are wondering? You can also feel free to ask to unmute if you want to ask a question, or if you have any suggestions, if you know of anyone who would be interested in being a speaker. Okay, then with that, I think that's the end. Nick, Fariba, is there anything I'm missing? Yes, and to everyone, the Iranian American Society will be announcing future meetings on their Facebook and their website, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And also feel free to follow Iranian Youth Connections on Instagram, and we are on Facebook as well, so you can continue to get updates about the work that we do. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye.